Hello, and welcome to episode 55 of the Wayward Skein podcast. Today is Sunday, October 6th. It's not December yet. And it's fairly late in the evening. It's about 9 o'clock. And I just got home a few minutes ago from dinner with my parents and my brother and his family and blah, blah, blah. We all went out to dinner to Mandarin Chinese buffet because Mom wanted to celebrate my birthday. It's not my birthday. My birthday's on Tuesday, but since I'm not going to see my parents on Tuesday, I'm actually going to be at Temple on Tuesday evening for the Kol Nidre ceremony at the Temple because it is the eve of Yom Kippur, which is the Jewish Day of Atonement, immediately following Rosh Hashanah, which is the Jewish New Year, which starts last week and goes to Yom Kippur. So the Jewish New Year celebration is, I think, a 10-day celebration. That makes sense. So we started on last Sunday night. There was an Erev Rosh Hashanah service at the temple, and I went to that for the first time. And then the next morning I went to the Rosh Hashanah service for the first time, and it was pretty cool. I had a lot of fun. And then we had this big potluck. And it's the first time that I've actually stayed for the community potluck after a service, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I sat at a table where I knew no one, and we all got to know each other, and it was super awesome. I made some friends, and I saw some old friends, and it was pretty cool. The next morning we had a Torah study, so that was pretty awesome as well. We, in the class that I'm taking, do that every second week. But for most people who go to temple, they're not accustomed to the style of Torah study that we do. And it was kind of funny because one of the directors where I work is Jewish and is thinking of joining the temple that I go to. So she came to this Torah study, and I think we freaked her out a little bit because we just take a short piece of, we call it a parsha. It's a short portion of Torah script, or it could be considered a Bible verse, whatever. Because we use most of the books from the Old Testament, and I think a few books that the Old Testament doesn't have in it. So we take a piece of scripture that is traditionally used at that time of year. And in our case, the second day of Rosh Hashanah, the traditional scripture is when Abraham takes Isaac to the mountain to sacrifice him. And so we go through that and we tear it apart. Like, we analyze the crap out of it and we tear it apart. It was a lot of fun. So anyway, this week, Tuesday is Kol Nidre, which is the eve of Rosh Hashanah, eve of Yom Kippur. It's a gorgeous musical service. We have a cellist in the congregation, so it's a piece of music that is played. And in our case, it's played by a cello and a piano. And there is a very, very talented singer in our congregation who will be doing the sung portion, and I cannot wait to see it. I'm so excited. I'm a little bit thrilled that I get to spend my birthday doing this because it's a really cool thing to attend. So I'm looking forward to that. And then the next morning, our Yom Kippur services, which are less exciting because almost everybody's going to be fasting. I don't fast because I'm diabetic and it's just not a good idea. So I get a pass. Plus I'm not, well, I suppose I am the firstborn, but I'm not the firstborn male. Traditionally, the firstborn male of every family fasts. If the firstborn male is underage, then the mother may fast for them. So I'm neither the firstborn male nor the mother of, well, okay, I am the mother of a firstborn male, but he's not Jewish. So I will not be fasting. I will be fasting for the duration of the time period that I'm in temple with everybody else, because otherwise that would be really rude. Be sitting there eating while everybody else is starving. And I don't get to go back for the evening service where they take up again in the afternoon because I have to work on Wednesday night. So I don't get to go to that. But there we are. That's what my week is going to look like. I don't have any tea today because, sorry, I should have opened that before I started recording. I'm drinking grapefruit Perrier. Because as I said, we went out. We went to Chinese buffet. We ate a lot of food. I'm so stuffed. I didn't actually hit the dessert area of the buffet. I had like a tiny little square of sugar-free cheesecake. They had it in little cubes, and that's what I had for dessert. So I literally pigged out on shrimp and vegetables. So that's where I was. So it's Perrier for me tonight because my belly is full. So I have something exciting. Ta-da! Thanks for the flush. We've actually got the cover off our toilet right now because the piece of rubber that connects the handle to the little flapper thingy at the bottom is broken. So we have to actually like pull the little rubber thing manually. And so the toilet flushes extra loud right now. Anyway, so Rob's socks are finished. These are my standard 3x2 rib socks that he loves. They always have to be exactly the same. So they are exactly the same. Right height and everything. They match. They're matchy-matchy. I'm just trying to get because I'm trying to get the ribs perfect on the hanger. So this is based on Sock Recipe, A Good Plain Sock, which is by Stephanie Pearl McPhee in the Knitting Rules book. I learned it from her Grok the Sock class. You all have heard this about a million times before, so I won't bore you with it. They are knit out of night owl fibers. No, they're not. They are knit out of Fiber Stash, Strong Toes in the ink colorway. And I'm just going to, yeah, there it is. This is all that I have left from the whole ball. 400 something yards. I think it's got to be at least 420, I think, yards. And so this is all I've got left. One little mini. It's mine. I keep it. And they are knit on 2.5 millimeter needles, which is a US 1.5. I use my carbon DPNs. I discovered today that I have 3 sets of them of 2.5s because I pulled out a whip that I forgot I had. It's a different pair of socks. Obviously, it's a lighter blue, but it's a completely different pair of socks, and they're also on carbons. And I have yet another one of these needle keepers lying around that has another set of these. Apparently, I really like these needles. I also like my Hiya Sharps, but I'm not sure where they are right now. So anyway, Rob's socks are finished. They are done. They are off the pile. I will be able to hand them to him at Rhinebeck. They need a little bit of a bath because I got something on one of them. But they're going to have a little bit of a bath, and then he's going to get them at Rhinebeck, and I'm very excited. So as I mentioned, I did pick up a whip that I forgot I had. It was actually a pair of socks that I started designing. So I had literally this much sitting on the needles. And that's when I decided that that was long enough and I was going to start the heel. So these are what I was calling the straight and narrow socks. I'm not sure I'm going to publish the pattern for pay. I may publish it as a free pattern because it's my first one. And quite frankly, it is not a difficult pattern. My main problem is that I end up, you can see here. Can you see it? There you can see it. I ended up with this hole that goes all the way through. You can actually see through. It's on both sides in exactly the same spot. And I suspect it's because I have a purl right at the needle join. And I suspect that's why I have a hole on both sides. So I will look into that when I do the second sock. And I think I need to modify the way I was doing the heel because I also have a bit of a hole right here at the edge of the heel. Because of the way I chose to do the heel, I think it just pulled apart a little bit. Like there's no hole there. It's just the stitches are pretty spread apart. So this has happened to me before, this hole up here in where'd it go? There we go. This little hole up here that goes all the way through that is on both sides. That has happened to me before. It usually means that I did not pay enough attention when starting my heel flap. And when I end the heel flap and start doing the decreases, I'm not tightening enough. So I don't think it's a problem with the pattern. I think it's a problem with the way I was doing it because I literally just picked it up and started working on the heel flap. So I think that was that mistake. I think I was using this to count my rows, and I wasn't entirely sure what I was using it for, so I'll just take that off. I had started these, God, probably about 2 years ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. I don't know. I've had this yarn for several years. I got it at Stitches Midwest. This is Mia Bella. So it's Miabella. It's a yarn store in Highland Park, Illinois. And this is her kitten yarn. It's her own dyed yarn in blue, and it's a gorgeous tonal. I will show you the rest of the ball. It is impossibly soft. It is so, so soft. I love it to death. I thought long and hard about what I was going to do with this yarn, and I decided to design a pair of socks. So we shall see how it goes. I started the ribbing up here. It's a little bit different. Excuse me. It's a little bit different than my standard ribbing. You can probably see it. You can probably work out what it is from that. I'm not going to discuss elements of the pattern because I do want to publish it, and we'll see how that goes. I did have to weave in the end up here at the start of the sock because it was driving me a little bit crazy getting tangled in my working yarn. As you can see, I still add a lot of twist to my yarn when I did. When I took the Grow Off the Sock class, I remember Stephanie saying, oh, it's normal to add a little bit of twist to your yarn as you knit. And then she walked over and looked at mine, and I had a 3-foot string of all these little things. And she was like, oh my, you had a lot of twist to your yarn. Yes, I do. I'm constantly having to hold them upside down. Whoop, and that backfired on me because the needles all got tangled together. But I'm constantly having to do this to watch it untwist. Of course, now it's not going to do it because, I'm on camera. Why would it want me? There we go. So I have to let it do this once in a while to get the twist out of the yarn. Otherwise, my yarn ends up super, super thin and really, really, the stitches don't look right. So I have to do this once in a while to let the twist out because I do put a lot of twist in my yarn. And I don't know if you'll be able to see this. I'll try to take a picture of it, but you can see it. There's actually speckles in this tonal yarn from where the dye didn't dissolve all that well. And I think it just adds an extra element of pretty to this yarn because it is a tonal yarn. It goes from light to dark to whatever, but there's also these speckles that are really cool. You can actually see the spots of dye in the yarn, and I love it. So I've been having a lot of fun with this. I mean, when I picked this up 3 days ago, I had this much. So I've done all this in the last 2 nights. And I'm hoping that it's going to look okay once I actually have it as a full sock. And then I'll start the second one. So this is my travel knitting project. This is what I take on the bus with me because I can't work on anything bigger than a hat, a mitt, or socks on the bus. And it was the only thing that I had that I didn't need a pattern for right now. So it made it onto the bus with me. And again, I'm using my carbon 2.5 millimeters, which is US 1.5. I'm using my Happy Rainbow Polka Dotty Needle Keeper by Mandy Pinecone of Mandy Pinecone Crafts Podcast. It's got her traditional hot pink interior. And it is currently living, pardon the top of my head, in a Chasing Acorns bag that I got from Kim last year at Rhinebeck. She made this for me as a thank you for letting her stay in her cabin. You can see her little tag there. Sorry, it's upside down. Chasing Acorns. And she's got this really neat nylon-y fabric on the inside, so it's really cool. I think it's supposed to be a spinning bag because that way the spinning fiber doesn't stick to the bag with this, because you can actually, it's a really cool construction. So she's got these little snaps on the bottom because it's just a straight bag, like a big pouch. But when you snap the snaps in and you fold the top down, it becomes a bucket bag that will stand up on its own. It is really cool. It becomes its own yarn bowl. It's really cool. So I haven't seen too many bags with this construction. I know there are others who make them, but I really like it. And I like the drawstring with the little tabby thing. So, and it's really good cord. So I'm really liking this bag. It's got a carabiner on it, which I may actually take off and put on my keychain because the one I have on my keys is actually all discolored and starting to fall apart. Because I use a carabiner to keep my car keys and my house keys separate, so that when I get home and the kids need to go in the house and I don't, I just hand them. I feel like I've got stuff coming down here, but it's really just shadows from the My face is not dirty, I swear. So anyway, yeah, I've been keeping it in this bag and it goes on the bus with me and I've been having lots of fun with that. I'm still not quite brave enough to get get my Find Your Fade back in action because I'm not 100% sure where I left off. I'm still trying to get 100% confidence in that so that I can start working on it again. I know I started the fade here for the third color. So I just have to really sit down with it with no other distractions and count the rows. And I'm going to try to do that tomorrow night. I don't have any plans tomorrow night other than laundry. So I think I'm going to try and do that. So I do desperately want to get this back on the needles. This is the right side. This is the wrong side. So the first color was an Oasis yarn. It was half red, half Oasis yarn, Seaport something or other, that I got at Stitches Midwest several years ago. It was like $5 a skein. And it was half red, half blue, and this is how it's knit up. The second one is an opal yarn. It is Van Gogh. Hang on. It is this one. It is Opal Yarns Vincent Van Gogh in the Starry Night colorway, which is my favorite painting ever. So yeah, this is the Starry Night one. I also have, is it sunflowers or tulips I have? Anyway, I have another Van Gogh skein somewhere in my stash. I would have to find it first to dig it out, but I do have two of them. This one, I coveted this so much, and a lovely viewer sent it to me, and I'm so, so grateful. It's my favorite. And what is left is going to become possibly part of a pair of mittens for me. We'll see. The third yarn is this one here, which is, I believe it's Bernat Socks. I don't know. It's so old. I've lost the ball band. I believe this was what I made my first sock out of. So it is Bernat Socks. It is the blue jeans variegated. That was the word I was looking for. I have several skeins of Bernat socks. Matter of fact, I have one right here that I was making my dad's socks out of. So it's a slightly thicker sock weight, but that's okay because it's not that much thicker and it's not going to make a difference in the shawl because it's a fairly loose gauge. So yeah, that's what I've just recently started this one. I know I'm where'd it go? It's on this side. It's not huge yet. I'm only on color 3. But I know I recently started the third color just right here. So I just really need to sit down, count the rows, figure out which color I'm on, which should not be that hard, and look at the pattern properly, and then I can just go. And that is living in a bag that I'm ashamed to show you all because it's so furry. My cat decided that this was a perfect pillow. Yeah. I need to take a roll of masking tape to this bag to get all the fluff off of it. It's actually clean under the fluff. Like there's nothing stuck to it or anything like that. It's literally just fluff. And if I peel it off, the fabric is actually quite clean underneath. So as soon as I can get the fur off of it, it'll be fine. Because the back is perfectly fine. And the inside is perfectly fine. So I'm just really ashamed that I let my cat use it as a pillow for however many months. I'm sorry, Brandy. That bag was made for me by Brandy, who is Brandy Miller Designs. She is actually trying to put together a sock pattern to be released at Rhinebeck. And I can't wait to test them. Yay! So we are actually getting to meet Brandy at Rhinebeck for the first time. So we're all very excited. And she's very excited to be coming. Sorry, I haven't done this much talking in a while. So that's basically it for knitting. I have been getting very excited, making up minis and stuff like that. I've got all these little baggies that I've been making. Last night I did something really stupid. So I've misplaced my little scale that I use to weigh my minis. And I usually weigh my minis into little balls, and then I wind them on these little cardboard bobbins that Rob made me. Sorry, I'll pull one out. So these are the little bobbins that Rob made me on the laser cutter. And they are fabulous. I just take a Sharpie pen and I write what the yarn is, what the colorway is, and that way, like, these are my 3. Whoop! Just pitched them all over the place. These are my 3 from the Color Affection. Now, I didn't have enough of all 3 colors to give everybody one of each because there are like 6 or 7 of us. But, like, I've got a bunch of different minis. Like, these are for Sarah. Sorry, don't mind the cat here. But I did something really stupid last night. So I'm winding this yarn here, and I will, I'll see if there's a way for me to pick it up without touching it. So I had this ball of yarn that was already caked up, and it belonged to a friend of mine, and she gave it to me several years ago. She has since passed away. So my friend Dara gave this to me years ago. And I didn't know what it was, so I was just like, I'll just turn it. I knew it was fingering, so I was like, I'll just turn it into minis. Yeah, by the time I wound the 6 or 7 minis that I needed for my friends, my hands, my forearms, all over here, all across my face was so itchy. And apparently I rubbed my left eye at one point because my left eye was burning. And even now, just having picked it up like from afar, I'm getting itchy again. You can actually still see some of the stuff that I had on my arms. I had this huge rash all over my forearms, all over the backs of my hands, all over the palms of my hands are still itchy. And I was itchy all over here. I just kept scratching myself, and I had a big rash here, and I had a big rash here. It's alpaca. So I felt really, really stupid because I had no way of knowing it was alpaca. Why would I know that? So now I have all of this left, which is probably a good 15, possibly 20 grams. And what I think I'm going to do with it is just put it in a sandwich bag and send it to Kate for her crochet blanket. I felt like such a dummy. Because, how am I supposed to know it's alpaca just from looking at it, right? Yeah, I gave myself a full upper body rash by playing with alpaca. I feel so smart now. So anyway, yes, that's going to go into a sandwich bag, into a little plastic baggie, and it is going to be shipped off to Kate at some point in the near future because, oh my God, I'm never touching that again. I've done some dumb things in my life, but it was just like, how are you supposed to test if it's alpaca? But that's the only yarn that I really do not have any clue what the composition was before I touched it in my stash. So at least it's not going to happen again. I have a lot of very rustic wool in my stash that I don't particularly like touching, but nothing, I've never reacted to anything like that. That was special, and I feel really, really dumb. So Kate, you're getting some of that. Everything that isn't wound up, you're getting. So yeah, that's going to go live in Ireland, far, far away from me. And the girls all have their little minis of it in their little bags. So they can all play with alpaca, and I never have to again. Actually, my thumb's really itchy now. So yeah, that was my oops last night. I still have a few yarns to cake up. Got a bag full here that I'm going to be winding for minis. And I'm going to have some spares. They will probably not be on little bobbins. We'll see how many. I only have a certain number of bobbins, which I should bug Rob to make me some more before he comes. It's in 2 weeks. So I should mention that to him that I would like some more cardboard bobbins, please. I've also got a big cone of this pink. I've got 2 cones of this and 2 cones of, I'll just reach for it. 2 cones of pink, 2 cones of purple. And this one's now got cat hair on it. Because of course I've got cats. And it fell out of the bag. So I've got 2 cones of each of these. This is a lot less blue than it's appearing. Just like my shirt is a lot less blue than it's appearing. It's really, really purple. It's sort of a lilac-y, periwinkle-y purple. But it's not as blue as it's showing up. So anyway, I've got these 2 cones, and I've got all those skeins that I want to make minis. I've got 2 weeks. I've got time. So we'll put you back in the bag. Because I bought these at Rhinebeck last year. The idea was that I was going to use them to practice weaving. But quite frankly, I've got 8 ounces of each on each cone. So I've got 16 ounces of both of these. I've got a full pound of these yarns. I've got more than enough. So minis will be made, and I'm very excited. I've got some tea bags I'm going to toss into these little baggies. There's going to be some chocolate thrown in there. I'll do my thing. One of the girls actually went out to the dollar store and got these cute little like Halloween-y bags. And I'm like, oh, that's super cute. You guys are getting Ziplocs from me. I'm too lazy to go out to the dollar store and buy little Halloween themed bags. But anyway, yeah, so the bunch of us getting together, there's Sarah, who is the Canadian Knitter podcast, also Steeped in Books book channel. There's Andrea, who's the Cat Lady podcast. I've got Jen, who is Storm Coast, the Uncreative Crafter. I've got Jess, who is Sarah Nova Crafts podcast. Let's see. Mandy Pinecone Crafts. I've got Michael, who is the Gay Knitter podcast. And we've got Rob. So there's a whole bunch of us getting to, oh, and there's Brandy, of course, of Brandy Miller Designs. She doesn't have a podcast, but she is a designer. So she's going to be giving out coupon codes, possibly, for this sock pattern that she's creating. She's just finishing writing it up now. So we're hoping to have it ready to release for Rhinebeck and hopefully hand out coupon codes. I need to find the bag of buttons I made, which I believe are in my bedroom. I need to find my buttons. I think they're in the suitcase pretty sure they're in my duffel bag that I use as a suitcase when I'm traveling because it squishes into the overhead so well. So I need to look and find them and pack those. Because if you see me at Rhinebeck, ask me and I will give you a button. And it's exactly the same color as my shirt, which is more purple than it appears on the screen. It's the logo that you see at the beginning of the podcast, the round purple logo. So that's what's on the buttons. And if you ask me, I will give you one quite happily. So if you are coming to Rhinebeck, come to the podcaster meetup. I will be there. I will be on the hill. So will Rob. And I've got a rash again. Hooray. To not be a special snowflake would be wonderful. So anyway, I've continued to pace with watching Guyver. I'll be honest, I have not touched my book in a week. I actually should bring that on the bus for this week. So I'm really into the story, but I keep putting it down and forgetting that I was reading a book. I'm a terrible person. So I want to pick that up more in the coming week. And now that Rob's socks are finished, I feel a little bit better about it. I do have a couple of other whips I want to get some progress on before I leave. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I want to get some progress. I want to get the first sock done before I go. So that I can see whether it's a viable pattern or not. And anyway, we'll see what happens. So I have not read my book at all. I have continued with MacGyver. I'm in the middle of season 3 right now. It's been weird. More bad acting and more weirdness, and yeah, it's been a little weird. I have to, there was one episode in the first season that had Terry Hatcher as this absolutely ditzy actress who basically keeps doing everything wrong and everything keeps turning out right. And she's become a recurring character, so that was kind of funny. And I had to laugh because she talks like a little girl, and she's it was really irritating. This character and her and Lois and Clark are complete polar opposites. So I thought that was kind of funny. Anyway, I'm in season 3. Several people have been podcasting that I'm very excited about. As I told you guys last week, Sam from Hand Me My Knitting is back. Ninja Chickens has recorded another episode this week. Nicole the Gentle Knitter recorded an episode last week that I think you should check out. I very much enjoyed it. Must Love Yarn have been busy girls. The Knit Girls, of course, continue regularly. the Knitting Expat, the Bakery Bears. Who else did I see had recorded this week? I don't know. Andrea has been hinting that she might be putting up a vlog or two, unedited, just like stream of consciousness stuff. And I'm excited to see that. So we will see what happens with that. And Cherry Heart Podcast has also recorded a couple of new episodes. So check those out. Other than that, I haven't been on YouTube the last 2 days, so I don't know if anybody's posted anything in the last day or two. But anyway, go check that out. And I will be blathering on about Rhinebeck ad nauseum for the next 2 weeks because I'm so excited. I want to leave now. Like, I want to get in my car and drive down there and be there. You know, it's a thing. And I'm a little bummed because I probably will not be going to India Untangled or Needles Up. We have had bad experiences in the last few years with those events. I can't say that about Needles Up because I've never been, but we've had bad experiences with India Untangled where it's extremely overcrowded and like actually dangerous. And if there was an emergency vehicles would not be able to get to that hotel because there's so many cars in the parking lot that people are like lined along the aisles waiting for a parking spot. And it's so crowded inside the venue, we could barely turn around last year. It was uncomfortable. So I will not be attending those this year, but I'm a little sad because some of the people that I would really, really like to see will only be at those events. They won't be at the main Rhinebeck because getting a table at Rhinebeck is somebody has to die for you to get a booth at Rhinebeck, basically. So I'm a little bummed, but I just can't make myself do it again. It was so unpleasant last year that I can't. I was really claustrophobic there last year. And I don't really get claustrophobic, but I just wanted to get the hell out of there. Once we were inside, I wanted out. So I will not be going back. Maybe next year I will try Needles Up. If I've heard that Indian Tangle is changing venues this year, so maybe if I hear good things about this year's, I will attempt it again next year, but I'm not going this year. I've got too much stuff going on. I'm driving down to Burlington, picking up Mandy and Michael, and we're all driving to Rhinebeck together, and Rob is meeting us there. So my first plan is to drive to the cabin, get the keys, and then drive back out to Kingston where everybody else is staying, because that was another comedy of errors you guys are going to love. So we all booked rooms in the same hotel last year for this year. The girls decided they didn't want to stay at the cabins anymore. It's a bit rustic. I don't have a problem with that. I grew up in the country, but some of them found it a little too rustic. Andrea had an incident where she heard a mouse in her cabin during the night and decided that was too rustic for her. And the other girls made the excellent point that there is no cell phone service out there. Last year, I was having car trouble due to a bad tank of gas that I got that had water in the gas. And my car kept stalling. So when we did not return from dinner, when we said we would return from dinner, because we went out to dinner with a bunch of other friends, when I did not return when I said I would, they got worried, understandably, because my car was crapping out on me. And they went looking for me. So because neither one of us had cell signal, we couldn't get through to each other. And it was a bit of a fiasco. So they made the point that, no cell service. They were uncomfortable with that. That's completely valid. We do have a landline in the cabin. So if anybody needs to reach us for anything, we have the landline and I will get one of them the number. When we go pick up the keys, we will get the number for the landline in the cabin, and that way we can reach each other. But the rest of them are all staying at a hotel in Kingston. What happened to my reservation? Who knows? This happened to two of us. My friend Michael and I both reserved our rooms online. Neither one of us ever received a confirmation email, and neither one of us ever thought anything of it. So, because I remember telling the girls at the time, hey, I've booked my room. Yeah, I'm in. And we were all excited because we were all staying at the same hotel. We were so psyched. And both Michael and I remember making reservations, remember telling everybody about making reservations. I vaguely remember even forwarding it to Rob because he was supposed to be coming with me. And I cannot find any record of having a hotel room, and they could not find any record of me having a hotel room. So as it turned out, I didn't have a hotel room. So I wasn't going to be staying with everybody else. Thankfully, I have the standing reservation at the cabins. It is the Simpler Times Cabins in Phoenicia, New York. It's about 40 minutes away from the festival. So fortunately, I had that standing booking at the cabins. I called the owner. I said, hey, is the cabin still available for me? She said, absolutely. Love to see you. So I booked the cabin. And then Michael came, once we figured out what had gone wrong with me, everybody else started checking their reservations. And that's when Michael found out that he didn't have one either. So he said, that cabin, does it have room for one more? And I was like, sure, it sleeps 5. Come on over. So he's going to be staying with us at the cabin, and everybody else is going to be staying at the Super 8 in Kingston. So yeah, I'm never, ever, 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 ever booking a hotel online again. I've never done it before. I always call the hotel directly, not the reservation line, the hotel itself. And this is the first time I've ever tried to do it online and never doing it again. So there we are. I'm staying at the cabins again, woo, which I'm very happy about because I love the cabins. That's my happy place. Walking into that cabin every year is like coming home. It's such a wonderful place. And yeah, they're rustic. And yeah, we're using septic tanks where, you have to be careful with your water usage. Sometimes you have to bring bottled water. It depends what the bacteria situation has been like over the last several months. 1 year we had to bring bottled water. The rest of the time we haven't had a problem. I have a little propane stove. I can make myself tea whenever I want. It's a full cabin. You've got a kitchen, you've got a bathroom, you've got 2 bedrooms, and we have a little couch and a rocking chair in the living room area. If you want to go into the main office, they've got board games you can borrow. They've got books. They've got all kinds of stuff. There's a TV, although we've never turned it on. There is a TV in the cabin. There's also a landline for emergencies. So the main house where the office is, the people who own the place don't actually live there. They live there on days where they have guests. They don't live there full time. They have a home nearby. So they leave at night and they come back in the morning. So there's nobody there in the middle of the night, which is fine. What's going to happen? They're really cute little cabins. The dumpster is locked for bears, which I think was also something that put Andrea off a little bit last year, is the fact that, there's the dumpster. So please lock the dumpster securely so that the bears don't get tempted. And she's like, what? We're in the middle of nowhere. There are bears. Excuse me. So anyway, yes, I will be talking about Rhinebeck a lot. And other than that, there's really not a lot going on. I'm struggling to sort of find time for self-care and like quiet time and just relaxing. I feel like all I do these days is go to work, come home, eat, sleep. Go to work, come home, eat, sleep. That's my life right now. On weekends, when I'm only working short shifts during the day, I come home and I'm a zombie. And then I go to sleep. So it's been a little hectic. Was it Monday? I think it was Tuesday I took off. It was last Monday that I'm lost now. Monday I had the whole day off. Tuesday I had the morning off. So last Monday was the first day off where I didn't have to go to either job in over 3 weeks. And I spent most of it in Temple. So that was something. It's been hectic, and I'm looking forward to being able to slow down a little bit. I've been working on budgeting a little bit better, and since I've been paying more attention to my budget, it seems like I have less money than ever. But I think that's because I've been making a few little mistakes in how I've been budgeting my money. So I'm going to look at ways of changing that a little bit. After October will be a little bit easier because October is my expensive month. That's when my driver's license comes due. It's when the registration on the car comes due. There's just a lot to pay for in October that I don't have to pay for the whole rest of the year. And then there's Rhinebeck. And the money that I've counted on to pay for those things in the past is no longer coming in. My daughter turned 18 in August, and I lost my child tax benefit, which was a monthly amount that the federal government was giving me for being a single mom, basically. I mean, all parents get it, but it's a little bit higher when you're a single parent. So I lost that in August, which was a substantial amount of money. That was paying my car insurance, my tenant's insurance, and my bus pass every month. So that was paying $200-300 worth of bills every month, and it's gone. So while I originally got the second job to pay off debts that I accrued while I was unemployed, now the second job is sort of making up for the shortfall that the child tax benefit left behind. And the quarterly payment that I used to get from the province of Quebec for having children dried up as well. So that's the money I used to use to go to Rhinebeck. You know, I still spent a lot of money on my kids. That just was one payment that I would use for frivolity, if you want to put it that way. So fortunately this year, October is a 3-pay month. So I have a little bit more flexibility in budgeting and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to have a ton of money to spend at Rhinebeck, but I'm going to have enough to, you know, be able to stay in the cabins and have a good time and spend time with my friends, which to me is the important part. Honestly, if I could just go and hang out with them for like a weekend, I would be disappointed if we didn't go to the festival at all, because I also love the podcaster meetup. And Rhinebeck is just an experience. It's just an experience. And oh my God, I've been talking for a very long time. I'm so sorry. I've just realized how long this has been going. So I will stop nattering on about Rhinebeck now and all the comedy of errors surrounding it this year. And Rob will be there. I will be there. All my friends will be there. So come and see us at the podcaster meetup on the hill, 1 o'clock. I think the Ravelry meetup is at noon. So I have to go to that too, because there's a friend who lived in Arkansas. She lived in Eureka, Arkansas, and she moved to Texas. And I missed her last year. I missed her. She was there. I didn't see her. She's coming again this year, and I desperately, desperately need to meet her. So Joyce is coming. I'm so excited. And what's she on Ravelry? I think she's that other redhead on Ravelry. She's a fantastic lady. Her husband is awesome. I cannot wait to meet them. So I'm very excited. So I have to go to the Ravelry meetup as well. I've got a couple of orders from friends who can't come, who want stuff from the food barn and things like that. So I've got my shopping list. I'm raring to go, and I will try to put out an episode next weekend. It is Canadian Thanksgiving. Saturday night, I think I'm having dinner at my uncle's house. And Sunday, I actually had to take the day off from the store because I have my final exam for my math class. I'm finished my English class. It's done. I passed. The math class, I'm a little terrified. I have a final exam in a week. I will be doing nothing but reviewing math between now and then. Making sure that I've got all my formulas memorized. I'm going to be practicing algebra because algebra is my tripping point. Manipulating the equations to isolate variables is Greek to me. No pun intended. I have so much trouble with that. So that's what I'm going to be concentrating on, is the couple of chapters that I had problems with. And hopefully the math exam will go well. It's next Sunday morning. I will talk to you guys afterwards. So I hope everybody has a fabulous week, and I will talk to you later. And I will ask you once again to always, please be kind to one another. Bye. Where's the stop button?